This is Seagulls Player.
Paul, we've finally got the new manager, Sami Hyypia, appointed on Friday. It's been quite a long process. What's been your take on that first?
Well, it's taken us about, I think, 25 days from the day Oscar resignation was announced to actually confirming Sami. So I don't really think it's a long process at all. I think what we've done is we've gone through a very thorough process. We've taken our time. We've looked at a number of very, very good candidates, and we've appointed someone that we believe is a very, very bright young manager and someone we're very excited to be working with.
You've been involved in football a long time. Have you ever had that opportunity to take that time? I guess the timing of Oscar's resignation, time of year, there's not that mounting pressure that there might be in the season or, with the previous appointment.
Sure, it's rare that you get the opportunity to run a process as thoroughly as we did, because very often manager changes are mid-season and you have to move very quickly because you've got game after game after game, particularly in the Championship. When you get a resignation literally after the final game of the season, you do have that little period when typically football people disappear for a month or so to actually get the process working and get the right person in for the job. And we felt it was important to consider all of the various candidates. Some of those names have appeared in the media, some of them haven't. Some of those that have been linked haven't anywhere been near our list, but we've ended up with a very, very good shortlist. We interviewed everyone thoroughly. We talked to a lot of people in the game. We talked to a lot of people that those people had worked with, played for, played against, people that had worked with them from an administrative point of view, and we feel that we've ended up with an excellent candidate.
With your preferred candidates, and particularly with Sami, how many times did you end up seeing him?
Tony and I saw Sami on two separate occasions for many, many hours at a time, and we also took the opportunity to introduce Sami to some of the key people in the club. People like David Burke, people like Nathan Jones, people like Dr. Helga Riepenhoff, people that Sami would have to work with on a day-to-day basis. And so we took a lot of counsel on the people that we felt were the best, most likely people to get the job, and Sami came out on top.
In terms of that, is it fair to say it was a three-stage process then, in terms of vetting that original list that I guess must have been a fairly big list of those high-calibre applicants, people the club maybe wanted to approach, then a first interview and a second interview?
Well, it's probably more than that, because we also did a lot of due diligence around talking to people that knew the candidates. So we were building up a profile all the way through the process of who we were talking to, not just from the conversations that we were having, but also the type of person they were earlier in their career, the type of person they were in their last job, the sort of person they were in different situations, just so that we could get as complete a picture as possible. No process is perfect, no guarantees can ever be in place when you hire anyone, least of all a football manager. But we feel we've done as much as we possibly can to get someone that not only just fits the culture of the club, but also has the pedigree to take the club to the next level. And as a consequence of all of that, we're looking forward very much to working with Sami in the weeks and months and hopefully years ahead.
You've obviously been involved in recruiting managers here and other clubs, Spurs, Vancouver, etc. Is this as perfect a process as you've been involved in?
Certainly as detailed a process, and as ever, Tony, as the chairman of the club, it's his most important appointment, and therefore the process had to be thorough, the due diligence had to be detailed, and there had to be that right chemistry there for the person to actually get the nod, and Sami met all of the criteria and more. And clearly is a very, very well established, well known and very well respected name in the game of football, not just in this country but actually across the world. And those things matter, those things are important, but none more so than fitting the culture of this club and what this club's ambitions are, and we felt that Sami met all of those criteria.
Obviously there was much speculation in the press. Did it come down to a straight shootout between two candidates at the end?
Well, I don't think it's really right to go into the detail of where we ended up. I think where we are is we've got a very, very good young manager who is exciting, who is looking forward to the opportunity, who is very, very keen to come here, who looked around not just the stadium but the training ground, talked to other people who had connections with the club, very high profile people in the game, and what came back to him was a ringing endorsement of what we're doing here, the ambitions that we have and the plans that we have to take the club to the next level. All of those things coming together, I think, make for a very exciting combination.
I'll ask it a slightly different way then. Were there other serious contenders, or was Sami by far and away
No, there
the
were indeed
choice?
a lot of very serious contenders. I mean, one of the things that struck us very early on, and I think I said early on, that we had a very, very high caliber list of applicants, and many of those high caliber people didn't even make it onto our final shortlist. That's how good that list was. So we were very lucky to be working with people that wanted to come here, that we liked the sound of, liked the look of. In many cases, people that we talked to could easily have fulfilled the job here. There's no doubt about that. But we were looking for a very exacting criteria. We went through a very rigorous process and a lot of detail. So, we're very happy with where we ended up.
What was that criteria?
Well, it covers a combination of different things. Obviously, technical ability to coach footballers is critical. Tactical awareness, communication skills, an ability to deal with the media, an ability to deal with pressure, an understanding of what it's like to be in a winning organisation with a winning mentality, delivering bad news to players as well as good news, leaving players out, picking them up after they've been left out, dealing with all the things that come with being an aspiring championship club that wants to play in arguably the best league in the world. That requires a certain type of person, a certain type of character, a certain amount of personality and personal characteristics that are not always prevalent in every person that you meet or interview in the game. And obviously we've also got to have that chemistry. That's something that enables all of us to work together in a high pressured environment week after week. It's a long season. There's 46 league games. There's hopefully 3 playoff games if we have to go through that route. Then there's the cup games. And Sami's got a great pedigree in the cup competitions as well as in the league. So, this is someone who knows what it takes, who knows what it's like to be under pressure to succeed. And that's a very, very important characteristic when you are an aspiring championship club wanting to get to the Premier League.
You've obviously met and sat with Sami over the course of a couple of interviews. What can the fans expect from him? What's the style of play going to be? How's his team's going to set up? What can they expect next season?
That question's for Sami, I think, on Thursday. But what I do know from the time that I've spent with him, he's a very calm character. He's a very professional individual. He's full of integrity. I think fans will like the way he approaches the game generally. He's very, very sort of focused on results and winning. And if you look at his career, both as a player and as a coach, he's had a huge amount of success. And that's something which, we're trying to instill in our organisation. This football club has come a long way in 113 years and has had a lot of downs, but has also had quite a few ups and a lot of success in its own right. And we want to continue that success, but at the next level of the game. In order to move to that level, we need to make sure that we're continuing to progress in all areas of the club, on and off the field. And we think that Sami is a type of character that will help us continue that momentum.
And finally, I guess, confident in the appointment, do you feel he can deliver that success that ultimately the last 2 managers haven't been able to quite get us over the line?
Well,
in terms of
we've made a huge amount
step
of progress, haven't we, in the last half a decade. It's been phenomenal, and the momentum that we've got in the football club, not just here at this stadium, but down the road at Lancing, the training ground, the excitement that's generating around that. Sami's got all of the infrastructure that he needs to help take us to the next level. We have to support him as much as we can from behind the scenes to help him get the best out of the players. We'll do that for sure, but you're talking here about a guy who's a winner. This is a man that has won lots of things in the game, lots of things that most people in the game only dream of winning. He's been there, he's done it, he's succeeded, he's achieved. There's absolutely no reason why he can't do the same here.